Hello everyone, Tango here again, and today I'm going to show you how to build a completely new type of iron golem farm I'm calling the Iron Foundry. So inside this thing we've got an incredible 44 villages. They're all capable of spawning iron golems, and that's going to translate to an absolutely mind-blowing 1700 iron every single hour. And now, even more important than that ridiculous iron output is how much easier I think this farm will be to build than my previous iron farm, the Iron Trench. So when I sat down to design this thing, I had two important goals in mind. So first, I obviously wanted it to produce iron at incredible rates, of course. But second, and probably even more important, I wanted it to be fairly easy to build. And when I say easy, I don't mean quick. It's still going to take some time to build this thing, but it should be doable by just about everybody. So, you're probably asking right now, okay Tango, what's the trick? What makes this all possible? Well, many of you probably know from my previous iron golem farms that villages can be overlapped with some clever placement of wooden doors. However, you probably also know that those villages are prone to merging together. For instance, if the chunks containing the overlapped villages are unloaded, the villages will be reformed as a single giant village when those chunks are reloaded later on. And also, even if you overlap the villages in the spawn chunks, well, they're still going to merge together if you go to another dimension for more than 60 seconds. You get the point. So, my last iron golem farm, the Iron Trench, which many of you have probably seen, dealt with this problem by basically saying, you know what? Go ahead and merge, we don't care. I'm going to repair everything with a ton of redstone. And let's face it, that was pretty cool, I must say. But this iron golem farm does not subscribe to that philosophy. This one's basically going to say, I'm not going to let these villages merge together. Ever. So, how is that possible? Well, the answer comes from everybody's favorite Minecraft genius, Panda4994. So he discovered that when an entity moves through a Nether portal, the other entities nearby that portal will continue to be processed by the game for another 60 seconds. And anytime another entity passes through that portal, well, that 60-second timer is going to get refreshed again. Now, when I talk about an entity passing through a portal, that also includes item entities. So you can probably see where this is going. What I've done is set up a clock that will periodically dispense an item through the Nether portal about every 45 seconds or so. So this means that the 60-second timer I was talking about is never going to expire, and therefore the surrounding entities continue to be processed forever, even when you're not nearby, and they're even going to process when you're in another dimension. And that includes villagers, which are responsible for keeping the doors of a village intact. Alright, now, there is one fairly large requirement for this design. It must be built within the spawn chunks of your overworld. And the reason for this is if you log out in the end or the nether, when you log back in, the spawn chunks will briefly load up and process entities and redstone logic long enough for that item dispenser to shoot its first item through the nether portal and basically kickstart the entire Keep Alive system. If you aren't sure how to locate your spawn chunks, or if you don't even know what spawn chunks are, I'm going to leave a link in the video description that's going to describe everything you need to know about spawn chunks and how to find them for your specific world. Now, with that said, there are some major advantages to this design. The first of them being it's very scalable. So we're going to be building the maximum 44 village version here, but there are also smaller, more casual versions that you can pull back to if you want. There's a 28 village version and a 16 village version, which just tweaks the design ever so slightly if you want to invest a little bit less time into building this thing. And I'll talk all about those variations later on in the video. Okay, so let's move on to building this thing. Alright, the first thing you're going to do before building this thing is to obviously figure out where you want to put it. Now, the thing to keep in mind is the footprint for the main structure is 45 by 45, so plan accordingly and make sure that the entire thing is going to fit inside your spawn chunks. I am right here in the middle of my spawn chunks in a brand new world, so I know that this thing will fit inside the spawn chunks. The next thing that you're going to want to decide is how high up off the ground you want to build it. You're going to want to build it at least, I'd say about 10 blocks or so above the ground. So that you have room for your lava killing mechanism and storage facilities and sorting systems and all the stuff that's going to be in that little structure down below. But for this demo here, I'm going to go up about 20 blocks or so. So the top block of this pillar is going to be the center point of the bottom spawning platforms for the iron golems. So first thing we're going to do is create a 19 by 19 square platform centered on this block. Alright, it should look just like this. Now the thing to note here is the 3 by 3 blocks here in the center, these 9 right here, this is going to be the hole where your golems actually fall through, so this pillar is eventually going to be gone and everything, but while you're building this, it might be a good idea to build a ladder coming up this pillar here, just as a quick way to get up and down if you don't have ender pearls. Alright, next thing we're going to do now is build a wall, 3-high wall around this platform. So come to any edge you want and just hop off just like that so that it's overhanging. And I'm going to go with solid block, glass, solid block, but it is totally up to you what you use here. It doesn't have to be glass, doesn't have to be anything. It can be whatever you want. And just carry this all the way around the entire platform, continuing to hang over the edge just like this. So go ahead and continue that pattern until you have a 3 by 3 wall all the way around. Alright, you should be looking at something that looks just like this now with a 19 by 19 spawning platform. And the 3 high walls take it out to 21 by 21 surface area. So what you're going to do now is find north, and I went ahead and put a diamond pillar there. You can bring up your F3, you can see I'm facing north right now, and that's just there for you guys to keep oriented with what I'm doing here, because it's going to matter a little bit right now, not too much. So what you want to do now is find the southwest corner. That would be right here. I'm facing west, now south, so come to the southwest corner, and 4 blocks in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, come out 12 more blocks. And then go ahead and repeat the same process right over here. 4th block in, like that. And just like that. Now come over here and do the exact same thing on the northeast corner. Again, 4 blocks in, come out, and 4 blocks in, come out. Okay, you should be looking at something that looks like this crazy shape now. So what we're going to do is connect these to make kind of L shapes that go around the edges. So on the southeast side, we're going to connect it down here and over, and then on the northwest side, we're going to bring it over and down. So the way we're going to do that is this is the west side I'm on right now. Just take this and start bringing it up along like this, and you're going to do the same thing over here. Start bringing this in until they meet, and then go ahead and connect them. And go ahead and do the same thing to the other side over here, and you should end up with a crazy shape that looks something like this, keeping in mind that that is north. You want the northwest side to have the big L on it, and the southeast side to have the big L on it. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is add flooring. Inside these big L shapes we just added is going to be the floors for where all of our village doors are going to go. So you're probably going to want to grab 2 different blocks now. This is a recommendation. 2 solid blocks of, whatever you prefer. Can be pretty much anything. And go ahead and add them in stripes like this. Alternating stripes back and forth. Now the reason for this is because this is the direction that the doors are going to be going. So you'll see when we get over here that they're going to go the other way. They're going to go like this. So this is just a recommendation. Obviously the build's not going to break if you don't do this, but it helps keep you straight on which way the door should be going. But if looks underneath are very important to you or whatever, obviously this is optional. Okay, so continue the south side pattern all the way down till you get to this point right here. Each of these stripes should be 11 blocks long, so verify that just to make sure that you're still on target for doing this right. Next, even with this wall here, right here, you're going to take some glass and make a glass strip down here. And the reason for that is because we don't want to put any doors on that strip. Next, we're going to fill in this whole side here, and we're going to change direction. So starting like that, just bring it down like so, and then keep changing colors, more of the same, and then go ahead and bring that all the way down to the end down there. Okay, go ahead and finish up the floor all the way down, and then repeat the entire process on the other side. Again, this entire design is pretty much going to constantly be mirrored, so whatever you do, you're going to be doing to the other side. All your stripes, again, should be 11 blocks long. Make sure you get your glass stripes in both cases correct. They should both be facing in the north-south direction. So yeah, alright, the next thing we're going to do is add a roof onto this thing, or rather on the on the door platforms, we're going to add a roof to it. So picking either one you want, doesn't matter because we're going to repeat the process for both of them. So come over to right here and come up 3 blocks like that. Again, so we're 1 off right here, and run this down so that it's like this. Again, not overlapping that one. Run that one down like that a little bit. In this direction, you can come down flush like this, and you're going to stop here when you get to 2 blocks off the end like that. Very important. So make sure you have 2 block space like that, and then carry this one down. You're going to keep going all the way down till you get to the glass right there. So bring it right up against the glass, but do not cover it. And then go ahead and square this all off like this. And you should have something that looks like this. Again, don't cover the glass, go right up to it. On the back side here, do 2 block gap from the end. This side here, you're going to be flush. And this side here, you're just 1 off of the wall below it. Go ahead and grab some glass now, and right above this glass strip that you already placed, coming out of those blocks right there, go ahead and add another strip right on top of it so it looks just like that. Then go ahead and grab some solid blocks, again, whatever block you want here. Obviously they don't need to be iron blocks, and come ahead and start running down the side here. Again, we're going to leave a 2 block gap here just like that, and then start bringing these down. Obviously you don't need the glass there, that was just a measure. Start bringing these all the way down now till you get down to the end right here, and bring it all the way up flush with these guys, or right with the end, and then bring it 1 off just like we did before. Again, 1 off right here, and start bringing this one all the way down, and you should have a nice big rectangle that looks like this now. Alright, go ahead and finish off the roof now and fill in those 2 rectangles just like this. You're going to be sprinkling in some glowstone in here, and the reason for that is to keep zombies from spawning inside there. You want to make the whole platform in there spawn proof. If zombies get inside there and start breaking doors down, you're going to be very, very sad. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. I went with glowstone on the roof. Don't go more than, I'd say, about 3 blocks apart in any direction or so. I'd say follow the pattern I got right here, and you should be pretty good. So do that, finish off the roof, and then take the process we just did and do it all over here. Alright, once you finish off both sides, you should have something that looks like this now, with a roof on both platforms that you just made. So the next thing we're going to do now is come inside the spawn area here again, and starting from this glass line here, just continue running it all the way down until you get to the corner. It's going to stick out a little bit, and then keep doing this so that it's flush up against the one below it, and then this is going to run right into this line of glass right here. Just keep it going, and we're basically just adding a line of glass all around the whole perimeter here. Alright, once you finish up that ring of glass that you just did there, go ahead and come back down into the spawn area and find the northwest corner. And what we're going to do is add 3 more blocks of glass. One there, there, and there, just like that. I know it's kind of hard to see with the glass here, but now go ahead and take 2 other blocks and go up 2, just like that. And then around that top block, add 4 more glass, just like that. And then kill those 2 temporary blocks. Now what this is going to be the holding area for your villages. So right there, you're going to want to get about 20 villagers or so. At least 20, I'd say. You can go more, but don't go crazy and put like 100 in there or anything. Now, as far as how to get them in there, I'm not going to go into the details. As usual, it's, mine carts is one option. If it was me, I would probably create a temporary infinite village spawner. That way you only need to get 3 villagers in the area, and then that spawning system will supply the extra 20 you're going to need here, or the extra 17. Well, you actually need to put 20 here. And then the 20 that you're going to need to put over there. We're going to need at least 40 total, so a villager spawner is going to be pretty handy here. I'm going to leave a link for my villager spawner. I would recommend using that. Where to put it? I would probably, if it was myself, I would probably put it, I might put it all the way down on the ground down there, or better yet, I might put it up on top here. But the thing to remember is that don't put anything above it. You definitely don't want to put it down underneath here, because all these blocks will obstruct the sky and screw up the spawning. And if you are going to put it up here, then go ahead and put it, at least a good 6 or 7 blocks or so above where this villager is going to be spawning here. Otherwise, as you put villagers in there, they're going to count toward the spawn population or the village population of the spawner, and it's going to shut the spawner down. So just make sure you come up a considerable height, you know, good maybe 10 blocks or so before you build it up here. And then you can run some glass tubing and drop them in the hole there. Probably what I would do. Alright, go ahead and repeat the process on both sides now and fill both sides up with over 20 villagers. You got the northwest side, the one I just showed you how to do, and then over again on the southeast side. At least 20 villagers in each side. Now, the reason we need so many villagers, you know, some of you guys may know you don't need that many villagers to actually spawn iron golems, but every 10 villagers that we have allows another iron golem to be in the active spawn area. So if we only had 10 villagers, for instance, we technically could spawn one golem at a time, but while that one golem was in the spawn area, other golems wouldn't be able to spawn. So I'm recommending at least 40 here. So the reason for that is so that we can have up to 4 golems spawn and in the spawn area at the same time. And with the massive amount of village overlapping that we're going to have here, honestly having 4 golems active at one time flowing down the water falling in is not going to be that rare. Okay, next it is time to finally break that 3x3 hole in the middle of our spawn platform. So go ahead and do that and then start tearing away this pillar here. And what we're going to do is, looking up, we're going to be building a 5x5 glass tube that is going to hold the golems as they fall down. So just keep doing that, 5x5 with a 3x3 hole in the middle, and start carrying it all the way down toward the ground level. Alright, now how far down you bring this vertical glass drop shaft is something that you definitely want to take into consideration and put some thought behind. Now the reason I say that is this farm is obviously going to generate a tremendous amount of iron, so you need to start thinking about what you're going to do to store that iron. Now personally, I am a fan of the vertical storage silo where you have piggyback chests and hoppers connecting them, and the input for those systems are all the way up at the top. So if you do plan to make a tall vertical storage system, you might want to lift this up and cut the system off up top a little bit more, because eventually we're going to have a hopper that's just going to be your iron output, and it'll be much more convenient to just run that right into the top of your vertical silo than it is to have to build an item elevator and bring it all the way back up again. So just some food for thought there. The farthest down you can go, though, is the 6th block off your ground level. So you can see I've got 5 blocks here just to show measurement. So that's about as low as you can go, given the little structure we're going to have to build here now. So the next thing you're going to need to do is figure out what side you want to bring your iron out on. So in this case, I'm going to bring it out on the north side. So I'm going to grab some hoppers and have them sticking out like that. And then from inside here now, just have all these hoppers all point into that corner hopper right there, just like this. So you have all 9 hoppers here, and they're all funneling into this guy right here, which is then going to funnel out that way. Alright, now back inside the glass tubing. Now, I probably should have told you this before so I don't have to break the glass, but go ahead and grab some signs, and on the 2nd block above the hoppers, you're going to start adding a whole bunch of signs. And this is going to be here to hold the lava up that is going to kill the golems. Pretty straightforward stuff here. Put 3 and then 1 and 1, and then pick any one of these middle ones you want and add 1 more to cover the middle, and then grab 2 lava buckets and put them in the opposite corners, doink and doink, and it should fill up just like that. And moving on now, depending on where you had your output from all those hoppers, come over to the other side here now, right over here, and we're going to add another portal. So go ahead and place a temp block there, and then come down to right there. Standard nether portal shape here, and then punch 2 out of the floor if you need to, just like that. Don't light the nether portal just yet, though. We're going to do that when we're done, just because it's easier to work with it not lit. But make sure that this right here lines up with the edge of your hoppers right there, and it should be underneath the edge of the glass, just like that. Alright, now down here below these hoppers, there's 3 kind of small systems we're going to build. First is going to be a simple hopper timer, which we'll build first. After that, we're going to build our overflow protection, and then we're going to have a simple rose sorter that's going to sort the roses out from the iron. And then once this is all done, I'll explain how it all works. So first, we're going to go ahead and build the hopper timer. put a redstone block just like that, sticky piston behind it, sticky piston right there. This design here was done by the man himself, Etho. So you're going to put two hoppers now facing directly into each other, right there. Those are pointing into each other. Take some comparators, put one there and one there. Break these two blocks here, get a block there, and redstone dust right there. Redstone dust and a block there. We are all set. Now in one of these hoppers, go ahead and add 50 items, which I should have had pre-counted out, but I don't. There you go, 50 items. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and build the overflow protection for the roses. So go ahead and spike a redstone torch right there and put a block right on top of it. And then add a few more blocks just like that. Swing them back around this side, two more, and then one more up there like that. So the redstone torch should be right underneath that center block right there. Then go ahead and take a comparator and put it right there. Grab some repeaters and go there, and then fill the rest of these blocks with redstone dust. So you should be looking something like that. Alright, moving on. Next we are going to add the dispenser. So swing back around to the front of the nether portal, and against that block right there, add a dispenser. Be sure that it's right in the corner here and pointing right where the nether portal is going to be. Then come back around this side here and holding shift, put your hoppers, two of them, bang bang, right into that dispenser just like that. Grab a temporary block now, or rather two of them, come up like that and take a hopper and stick it into the side of that one there, and then you can go ahead and kill those blocks. So just to recap, hoppers in, this guy pointing off into nowhere, and these guys all pointing over to the left here. Now we're going to go ahead and make the simple item sorter. So place a couple blocks like that, one like that, and just basically make this pattern right here coming out of it. Go ahead and grab a comparator coming out of that hopper right there. Take two dust there and there, take a repeater, put it right there. Make sure it's pointing into this block right here, and then just take a torch and stick it on the side underneath the hopper there. Now in this hopper right here, the one that's pointing off to the comparator, you're going to go ahead and add roses just like this, or in 1.72 it's going to be poppies, and go ahead and stick them in there. And what should happen here is this should count down to 18 and it should stop right there. Now the reason I have roses here, not poppies, I am doing this build in 1.64 because of the villager mod, which you're going to see in a little bit. So I'll talk more about that when we get there. But anyways, you see it stopped at 18, so what I would do if I were you is verify that the extra ones went over here. So I got the 22 overflow, which is good, and you can see it already spit out one of the roses. Perfect. Alright, so just a real quick overview of what's actually happening here. The golems obviously fall down here and are going to burn. Their items, or their iron ingots and poppies, are going to fall into these hoppers, which are then going to come over here and try to go out. But with all of these roses, which will be poppies in that hopper there, those are going to get pulled down in. And as soon as they do, this signal here is going to increase to a 2 because there's more items in that hopper, which is going to power that repeater, which is going to turn off this torch, which is going to allow the poppies to flow through these hoppers right here into the dispenser. So this dispenser here is always going to be filled with poppies. Now, you're going to be making so many poppies that it's going to overflow. This thing's going to be filled up, and it's going to start to come back into this hopper here. And when it does, that's what this comparator here is for. He's going to eventually spit out a redstone signal of 3 or greater, and as long as he's on a signal 3 or so, this clock here is going to be active, and it's going to keep ticking, and each time it does, it's going to also come over here, power this block, which is going to, again, power the dispenser and spit out an extra poppy. So basically, as long as the system is overflowed, this clock will go and take the poppies back down to where it needs to be. Now, down here we put 50 items in our hopper timer here. That's going to give us about a 45-second timer, and that's because of the 60-second timer that I talked about, where every time an entity goes through, it refreshes the 60-second timer, where the nether portal will keep entities in the area active and continue ticking them. So as long as we spit an item into this portal every 60 seconds, we're good. So we're going to go with 45 seconds here just to play it safe. Alright, so now that we're getting close to the step where we're actually going to start placing doors, and we need the system to actually start working, we need to actually start spitting items into the Nether. So go ahead and light your Nether portal at this time. And what you need to do, now obviously you don't have a huge amount of poppies available, so what I would recommend for now while you're building this thing is just go ahead and grab some dirt or whatever you've got a ton of and fill this dispenser all the way up. What that's going to do with this full every 45 seconds, it's spitting one of these out. That's going to give you about 7 hours to pretty much finish your build. Obviously, keep an eye on it. If you feel like you're going to be going anywhere near 7 hours, then come down here and replenish this. Just make sure it's full. You know, what you don't want to happen is for this to run out of items as you are going through all the door placing process, which is what we're going to be going through next. Alright, the only thing left down here now to do is to do something with your iron output. This hopper here is going to have only iron ingots coming out of it. So, you know, obviously at this point it's completely up to whatever design and whatever bulk storage system you want to go with. But you're obviously free to do whatever you want with this hopper chain, and if you want to dump it into a silo or something, now's the time to do that. And then once you're done with that, go ahead and just enclose this in whatever way you think looks best. Alright, one last point before we get out of here. It's probably worth double checking your hopper timer to make sure that you still have 50 items in it, because with the building here, obviously some blocks might have fallen in there, and if too many fell in there, you're going to be sad if that exceeds a 60-second timer. So double check, make sure there's still 50 items in there. Okay, we are finally ready to start adding the doors and creating all of the villages. So this is the part that's going to be very tedious, I will say. It's not hard, but it is tedious. Doors don't stack, and if you are building all 44 villages in here, you have 968 doors to place. So, yep, it's a lot of work, but it will pay off, and once you get going, you'll find a rhythm and you'll find a method that works best for you. So most of the structure is built here. Down there is completed. The door platforms are complete. The only thing we don't have is our second spawning platform, which a lot of you guys are probably wondering where it is. And the reason for that is I'm going to add that in later, just because it's going to make getting across much harder. So you'll see once we start this door placement process, we're going to be kind of cutting across the middle here, and I want to make it easier for you guys. So that's why we don't have the second platform yet. We will add it, don't worry. We're also going to add some edging and stuff. Okay, one last bit before we start actually placing the doors here. I do want to be very clear about something. I am doing this tutorial in version 1.64 of the game. And the reason for that is the Villager Marker mod by KaboPC, which is just an absolutely brilliant mod that allows you to see villages as they're placed. You see the radius with the dots. It'll also draw lines between villages that belong to the same, or to doors that belong to the same village. So basically it's essential if you're designing an iron golem farm, and I'll talk more about the mod in a second. But once the mod is updated, I will post a link in the video description. Highly recommend, if you're going to build this in single player, definitely get the mod. He also has a version that works in multiplayer, I believe, so even if you're on SMP, I suggest trying to get the mod installed on your server. It is not compatible with Bucket though, I believe, but double check on that one. But also rest assured, I have built this entire farm in 1.72, which is the current version at the time of me working on this, so it does work. The mechanics that this entire farm is based on is the original villager mechanics, which have not changed since they've gone in, so chances of this farm breaking in the future are very slim, I'd say. Alright, we're just about ready to start placing the doors now, but before we get started, you're going to need to reorient yourself with where north is. In this case, that's my diamond pillar out there, and you need to find the western side of your farm, which is in this case right here. Now what we're going to need to do is build a thin satellite strip of blocks, 64 blocks out in this direction, that is parallel to that platform of where the doors are going to go. And what we're going to do with that is, those of you that are familiar with my last iron golem farm, the Iron Trench, I introduced a concept that I called village chaining, which is a process for getting villages aligned in adjacent blocks in a straight line. So that's exactly what we're going to do out there, is get 28 villages aligned up somewhere out here, 64 blocks away, and then individually pull those villages in by, placing doors strategically and then aligning them up into their individual strips here. Now there's going to be 11 doors on this strip and 11 doors on its mirrored strip on the other side. And when those doors are placed correctly, the center of the village will then coincide right with the center, or very close to the center of this spawning platform. Alright, so let's get started, and I'll describe it a little bit more as we go to make it a little bit clearer what's happening. So again, on your western door platform, you're going to start down here in this corner. And now even with this first stripe, what I recommend you do is take 63 cobble or dirt, whatever you want, and just start laying them down like this. This is the easiest way to make sure that you're going to end up on the right spot. Okay, once you place that last block there, go ahead and replace the last one with something else. And now this is going to be the line where all your village doors are going to sit on. So including that block there, what you want to do is make this line be 28 blocks long. And when you're done, the end of it should line up right with the last stripe right here. Now we need to add a really quick little roof on this thing. So come up 3 blocks just like that, break those 2. Come back 1 more just like that, and now take this and run these 2 blocks all the way down. And you should be looking something like this now. So you get your strip down here, this is where the doors are going to go, and your little roof here, this is there so that the doors can be recognized as valid village doors. So the next thing you're going to need to do now is find the middle block, or one of the 2 middle blocks in your strip here, and up on top you unfortunately are going to need to get another villager in there. And this guy here is basically just to detect these doors so that they can be registered as valid village doors. He's going to be temporary. This whole structure down here, all of this is going to be temporary, and when we're done it's going to get thrown away, so it's, you know, not important to make it look good or anything. Alright, so what we got here is pretty much the bare minimum to start placing doors, but given that you're going to be doing this in survival, you're probably going to want to build this up a little bit more. Maybe build out a little platform here, maybe build some more in the back here like this. All this stuff is okay. Don't touch the roof though, but you know, build all these out here because you're going to be placing a lot of doors on that stripe there and breaking a lot of doors, so you want to obviously be able to pick them up and not have them constantly be falling down, all that good stuff. Okay, we are ready to start placing doors, but before we do, go ahead and light up your platform, light up the roof, just go crazy with the lights, light up your walkway, everything. You definitely don't want a zombie spawning here and breaking any of the doors that you're about to place. If one of those doors gets broken, you're going to have to kill everything and start over with all the door placement. So first things we do here, the first step in villager chaining is to place a door right there. And if you have the mod, you'll see it automatically gets detected almost immediately as a valid village door. It's one of those villagers right there saw this, that's at his maximum range, and picked it up. Next thing you're going to do is come down here. So the process of village chaining is one that I described in detail in my Iron Trench video, so if you haven't seen it or if you just want a refresher on what I'm doing here, I definitely encourage you to go check that out. It's going to be worth about 5 minutes of your time just to really have a clue what's going on here. You'll fully understand this process. But in lieu of that, what you're going to do is come down here, not in the first block, but in the second block, you're going to add a door there. And this villager there is going to pick it up after a second or two. You'll see it's going to make a new valid village door here. And the reason it didn't link up with that one is because it's just over 64 blocks away. And 64 blocks is the maximum distance for doors to link together within the same village in this case. So, like I said, it did not link up. Now, when I place one here, though, it will link up. You'll see a red line will be drawn from here. It's going right down the edge of the cobble path there, but you can see it. So we have 2 villages now. The first one has 2 doors in it. It's got this door here and the one down there connected by the line. That's the red village. The center point is right there. The second village has just 1 door, which is this one, and its center point is up here. So that's pretty much the process of village chaining now. So what we're going to do is keep kind of ping-ponging between the 2 sides now. So we're going to come down here to this end, and before we do anything, the first thing I want to do is find in this case, the northernmost door that you have placed. So in this case, it's this one, and we're going to go ahead, in this case, just place a torch right there. That's going to be just a marker for us. It does nothing to do with redstone. Just don't use a block or anything like that. And then we're going to break all of the doors in the line that we have placed before it. And after that, we're going to go back to the torch and place them in this order. In this case, starting from the north, coming down this way. And you can then remove your redstone marker. So what we'll see here is 2 doors linked up successfully, and the third one, the blue village, was just created up there. So this is the blue village door right here, and these 2 guys linked up down there. So just keep repeating the process. Come down here, take your redstone torch as your marker, find the door that was most recently placed on this edge, place a marker further down from there and break all the doors in the line. Then start placing the doors again, starting at your marker and working down the line again in this direction. In this case, you'll see 3 doors link up and 1 more is created up there. Go ahead, reclaim your marker. And this is the process now that you're going to keep repeating until you get to the end. So one last time here, place a marker, 2 doors down, break the doors, go back to your marker, and place all the way down. So in this case, we got 4 villages link up, and the 5th one is up there. So keep repeating that process until you get to the end. Okay, when you're done, and if you have the mod, you should see something like this. It's going to look like basically a whole bunch of rainbow stripes lined up. Each one of those lines represents a different village right now. So when you you'll end up with something like this, where the last torch you placed was right there. Go ahead and place that. Obviously, you don't need to do anything here because that's not a buildable row. So instead, what you do is just go ahead and break all your doors going down. And what this is going to do now is kick all of the villages over to this area here, and looking up you'll see all those circles intertwined there. That's the 28, I might have said 32, 28 villages lined up there, and that's the first step of village chaining. Now, as you may have guessed, we've got the 28 villages over there for this whole western door platform, but we also have this smaller platform here with 16 stripes on it, and we are going to repeat the exact same process that we did on the west. We're going to do it over here to the north. Now this time you're going to use this kind of central, north central position, I guess. I don't know, just you see where I'm pointing to. This right here is where we're going to start. So using all the exact same techniques we used over there, take a stack of 63 cobble and line it all out. Take it this way to the north again. And this first iron block right here should have been the last block that you dropped. Go ahead, swap that out, put a different type of block there, make it go down 16 blocks in this direction, add a little bit of a working platform around it, add the roof. This is all the exact same concepts we did over there. The roof that is too wide, you're going to get a villager in the middle of the roof up there and light it all up, and you are ready to go. So what you're going to do now is pretty much what we did over there. We're going to start at this spot right here. Add 1 door there. You should see it get detected. Again, if you don't have the villager mod for this, don't stress that this whole build can work. The mod is not required. It's just very helpful. But as long as you're placing the doors in the order I am showing you, everything will work. So you'll see I added 2 doors there to this one first and then that one. So you should get the stripe and then the other village created here. Again, repeating the process, come down here, grab your torch marker, put it 2 blocks ahead of wherever the last door you placed coming down this way, and go back to your torch marker now. Place the doors appropriately. You guys see the pattern here. Again, torch marker, down 2, break the doors, go back to the marker, place doors from the marker, and keep repeating this process until you get to the end of this much shorter line. And when you're done, you should be having your last redstone torch marker in this spot right here. Go ahead and break it. Obviously, you're not going to put one there because those are glass. We're not going to be placing the door there. And we're not going to we already have a door that lines up with this stripe here. So go ahead and just break all these doors. And again, what you're doing is kicking all the villages down there. So now we've got 16 villages lined up in a row down there and 28 villages lined up in a row down there. Okay, so now is just as good a time as any to talk about how this design can be scaled back a little bit if you want to put a little bit less effort into it and get a little bit less iron. So there's 2 variations. This is obviously the full 44 village version that I'm showing you, which is going to make more than enough iron for an entire server of many players, by the way. The first way to cut back, I would say, is to just not do this whole extra northern strip. Don't do any of the stuff we just did there. And then this inner platform here, I'd say just cut this out. Basically keep the glass, and then all of these stripes that are going this way and this whole platform here, you can kill that, kill the roof here, and then kill the mirrored side over here. Keep that glass there and remove these 16 stripes and the roof accordingly above it. So basically you'd have 28 stripes over there and 28 stripes here. That's going to obviously give you a 28 village version. Repeat or still do all the village chaining stuff we did over there, but omit all this stuff, and you'll be able to pick up with the next step just fine. You're going to get a 28 village version, and that's still going to produce a ridiculous amount of iron. Honestly, just shy of what the iron trench itself did, so you're still going to be very happy and be placing a little bit less doors. But, you know, we're not talking about too much more work here to get the extra 16. Now, the next way to pull back and make an even smaller, much more manageable farm is to do just these 16 stripes starting here and coming down to right here, and then take this stripe right here and replace it with whatever your border block is. So the 16 from there to there, you're going to get a 16 village iron farm, still going to produce, you know, a tremendous amount of iron. Scale this design here or this stripe here or the secondary strip over here to just 16 blocks starting from there coming this way. It all should be pretty self-explanatory. Just change the process. I would not recommend going less than 16. One, because the work we're talking to go from anything like 5 to 16 is so little, it's worth just going to 16. But more importantly, if you go any slower than or any less than 16, you might not produce enough roses, or I should say poppies, down there to keep the nether portal tick system alive. So the variations that I would say are acceptable: 16, 28, and the 44 that I described, but just do the 44. It's the best one. Alright, now it is time to start taking these villages that we have lined out on these far satellite strips and start sliding them and repositioning them into the proper homes on these stripes, on these door platforms that we made. So given that I just got done talking about different variations of this farm, the 44, the 28, or the 16 that you may or may not be building, I'm going to kind of talk about this in a general sense here, just so you understand the process of what you need to do. Now, the first thing you need to understand is that for every stripe here, that's going to be a village, and the doors on a stripe are going to all belong to the same village. Now, given that this whole design is completely symmetrical, what you need to understand is that every stripe has a mirrored opposite that you need to be able to pair up. So for instance, this guy's mirror image or mirror pair right there is going to be this stripe over here, okay? And just the same, the one right here next to the glass, this one right here is going to be this one over here, okay? So you guys, it should be pretty obvious how to pair these up. And what we need to do is place the doors on this side or that side first, and then go over to its opposing pair and place 11 more doors over there, and they're all going to link together. So starting now, the way you're going to do this is starting at the doors that you most recently placed and working down toward the oldest doors that you placed. So regardless of which design you went with, the oldest door we placed is that one all the way down there. So this stripe right here is going to be the last one you do with any variation. So in the 44 version, which is what we're going to show you now, the last door we placed was the one on this end here. So we're going to start right here. And you'll see if you have the mod, it links up. But again, if you don't have the mod, don't worry. You want to place the first door so that it can link up with the satellite strip, and then wait a little bit. If you don't have the mod, that is, wait a little bit. If you do have the mod, just wait till you see the line and you're good to go. Once you wait a few seconds, then just go down and place the next 10 doors just like this. And again, it doesn't matter if you miss one or do the mod order. All that matters is you get them in that same stripe. If you place one outside or whatever, oops, no big deal. Again, it doesn't really matter. You can just break them. It's not that sensitive. So get your 11 doors here, and now go find the mirror to that stripe that I was just talking about. In this case, it's this guy over here, and then go ahead and place the 11 doors just like this. And you'll see now with the mod, I've got 11 doors there, 11 doors there, and I've got the one door out there on the satellite that are all pointing in. So this focal point right here is the center of the village. Now, when I finally remove the door down there, which is what we're going to do when we're all done, that center point is going to shift to directly over the center of this spawn platform, which is exactly what we want, which is going to allow the golems to spawn in here perfectly. Now, the other thing I should talk about now is, obviously there's just one spawning platform. You guys are probably wondering where the second one is. This is the reason I haven't added that second spawn platform yet, because now is probably a really good time to do something like this, so that you can hop up and down. Assuming you're going to be doing this in survival, you're going to be going back and forth quite a bit here, so you're going to be placing doors, hop down, go over. If that other platform was here, you pretty much wouldn't be able to get across. So we're going to add that second spawning platform later. So that is the first village that is now in its real place. So after that, you're going to go to the next oldest satellite village that you created, which is going to be the one down there now, which is going to line up to this guy right here. So you're going to place that door there. Again, give it a second to link up, and then just keep repeating the process. You're going to place the 10 more doors right here, like that. So you got the 11 doors there. Go find its mirrored partner over here and place the 11 doors on its corresponding stripe. And again, I missed one. That's okay. Just go ahead and add it in. You'll see that's the red stripes there, and you'll also see that they line up almost perfectly, almost exactly in the same spot. So this is the process you're going to continue now. You're going to now place the next door there. And again, you're just going to keep working down until you get to this position here. Once you get all of those in place, then we're going to go over to that second strip over there. Okay, once you're done, if you have the mod, you're going to be looking at a nice looking rainbow that looks something like this. And more importantly, you're going to notice that golems started spawning in here. And that's a good thing. It shows you that everything's working. They probably started spawning, then they probably capped out based on how many villagers you actually have here. I had 4 and hit the cap, and that's totally normal as expected because they're not being flushed down the system there. So they will, once we get the water in here, they're going to go down and the system's going to start cranking full force. So that is the first 16 villages in place. Don't break those doors out there yet. So yeah, if you're doing the 44 version, that's how we start it. Now, if you're doing the 28 version, or the next thing you're going to do if you're on the 44 version is come down here to this guy on the northwest corner and pretty much repeat the process we just did over there, only this time working from this direction down there, because again, that is the last one we're going to do down there. So repeating the process, you place the door there, wait for it to link up, slide in here, place the other 10 doors that belong to that stripe, like so, and then go find his mirror. You might want to build some more steps here, temporary steps. Now that one is the extreme northwest, so his mirror is going to be all the way down here in the far southeast. So go ahead and place doors here like this, place the 11 doors. And again, you're going to see that's the turquoise lines in this case. You'll see the 11 over there, 11 over there, and the 1 door way over there. And again, when we remove that door, this focal point here is going to bounce into position right there. So repeat the process all the way down the line here. Again, always start with this door first right here. Give that one, because that's the only one that's going to link up there. Once that's done, or once you give it a few seconds, then go by and do the next 10 for that strip. And then once you get over to the mirrored side over here, it doesn't matter which order you do them in. You can do them in any order over here. They'll all link up. Okay, one extra note here for while you're building this process to explain what kind of mistakes you can make and how you would have to fix them. So the stripe that you're working on, as I mentioned, with the exception of placing this door first, the other doors you can skip if you make a mistake, or you can place an extra door and then break that. That's okay. It's not going to be a problem. The problem comes in, like if I was to break this door right here on the corner, after I've already done stripes after it, then that's going to be a problem, because I can't simply place that door back, because it's going to link up to some of the more older villages that are already in place here. So, but I will say though that all the villages in place here have 22 doors. Now, for a village to spawn golems, it only needs 21 doors. So if I did actually break a door by accident on one of the older strips, it's okay. That village is still going to pretty much function normally. Its center point will be a little off center, but you're still going to get almost 100% golem production rate. If you happen to break 2 doors on a strip, then that village will not produce golems. So then it's up to you. If you really want to fix it, you're going to have to break all the doors coming back to that one where there's a mistake, fix that strip, and then redo the process. But again, if you break just 1 door by accident in a strip, it's okay. It's still going to work just fine. Now that is a thing of beauty. Gotta love it. 44 villages, almost overlapped at this point. We got a couple focal points here, but now we're going to bring them all together right into the middle there. So this is kind of the point of no return. We're going to break these satellite doors, and all the center point of those villages are going to move in. I will say that once you break these satellite doors, it's kind of like, well, if it doesn't work, you have to start completely over. Whereas if you leave those doors in place, you could theoretically break all the doors you've placed in here and start over again by bringing them back in, assuming you did the village chaining correctly. But pretty confident that everything in there is working, so we're going to go ahead and break them. It does not matter the order you break these doors in, so go ahead and take them down. All right, let's see what we're looking at here. Beautiful. That is what you want to see. Now, we've got 44 villages. Look at that nice tight focal point there. They're all lined up perfectly. It's not perfectly on center because they pick a corner of a block. So in this case, it picked the northwest corner of the block, it looks like. So there we go. We are set to move on. Okay, moving on. We are just about done with the build here now. We just need to add that platform, add the water, and all little niceties at the end, and we're good to go. So first thing you want to do is probably kill the whatever little temporary hopping blocks you had built. Next, go ahead and take some any block you want. I'm going to use glass here and put 3 in each corner, just like this. 1, 2, 3. This is basically just to ensure that your water streams don't merge and kind of flood the whole thing. Out of the way, buddy. All right, just like that. Next, you're going to add the next platform. So to do that, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are going to be the blocks that you need to leave as spacing. So that 5th block right there is where your platform is going to be. So it's going to be right at that height. There's going to be 4 blocks in between. Obviously, you don't really need those blocks there. They're just for measuring. And you should be cutting off your doors just like that, just to verify that it's done right. So go ahead and fill this in all the way and just leave the 3x3 hole in the middle. Alright, once you get that platform in place, you should notice that the little blocks that the villagers are standing on should look just like this. Again, so you got those 3 blocks there, which is pretty much what we need. So go ahead and add those 3 little blocks in the other 2 corners. And you're good to go. You probably want to add another layer of blocks right here now. I'm choosing glass. Obviously, you can use whatever you want, just to kind of give it a little extra ledge. The golems really won't get out anyway, so it's up to you. All right, you are all set to add the water to this thing, and that's going to pretty much turn it on. So come to your corners here, add a water source there, add one there, and then add one on top of the corner block, just like that. Do that to all the corners, there, there, and there. And then go ahead and just spam water in the side there to link all those up. Do the same thing going down. Out of the way, buddy. There, there, and there. You get the idea. Just go ahead and keep repeating this pattern. The only other little bit to note is that up here you're going to add water there and there. And then where your villages are standing, just add water on that block and on that block. And it will flow outward because it's the closest. It's the way water works. So the villagers in there are not going to get wet. They're not going to get pushed up or anything. Everything is totally fine. So again, it's there, there, on top, and you're good to go. And then obviously the same thing in these corners here, and fill it all up. All right, when the water's all in place, you should be looking at nice clean edges here. All the water should come right to the edge, just like this, both levels. So it should just be a nice clean water edge. If you want to play it safe, I would recommend covering up your villagers with a half slab there. Not that I can really see any way they're going to get up here, given that this should be all spawn proof up here, but just to be safe, it never hurts. Alright, at this point you have a fully functioning iron golem farm that should be spawning golems at a pretty disgusting rate. So all that's left is to clean everything up. You can break your whole secondary strip there, you can kill that villager, kill the walkway, do all the same over there. You don't need that stuff anymore. And then all that's left is just to kind of tighten things up here, add some edging if you want, pretty much just cover up your doors, protect them a little bit if you want. But the thing I will stress is be very careful not to break any doors during this step, because you're obviously not going to be able to replace them due to all the ordering stuff we did. So just be super careful as you're placing these, that you don't break any doors. Personally, I would just ring the whole thing with glass myself. You know, glass up here, glass, 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 glass. It all looks good. Showing off the doors looks good in my opinion. So, but it's all up to you how you want to decorate this thing. Okay, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this tutorial. I know there will be some questions about this design. I'm going to try and hit off some of them right now, but I know there will be plenty that I will miss. So as usual, just go ahead and leave comments in the videos, and I'll do my best to get around to addressing all of those valid questions. First, the common question is going to be, can this thing be stacked? Can it go more than 44? No, not really. There's a couple things about overlapping sky axis and stuff that's just not going to make that really happen. But 44 villages is enough for your entire server's supply of iron. Trust me, I promise you. Another question is going to be, can it be built underground? And the answer to that is, well, yes. Every iron golem farm can technically be built underground, but you really need to know what you're doing. There's a lot of spots that need sky access, and you really got to understand what makes a valid village door. So if you're asking that question, I'm guessing you don't know how to do it underground, and I would not recommend it unless you really know what you're doing. The other question I'm guessing is going to happen is, my iron trench had some issues if you put it on a server that had a lot of villagers globally. This one does not have any issues associated to the maximum number of villagers that are on a server, so don't worry about those at all. Again, I'm sure there'll be more questions. You know, there may be an update video if many of them are asked, and I'll try to address them that way. But for now, that's going to do it. Signing out. If you guys enjoyed this, I really appreciate it if you throw a like on the video and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Until next time, this is Tango.